Hello class, here's the next video on doing a car, this time from an angle. Here's a sketch I made, just a quick, this is something like you might see in town with a car or several cars parked in front where the car's on an angle. I actually rendered this with the watercolor pencil. I haven't applied the water to it yet, but I'll demonstrate that on Wednesday. You might want to pick up a set of those after I demonstrate, or I'll let you use mine to kind of see how they work. But anyway, that's the kind of sketch where you might have a car on an angle. Okay, let's get started here. Adjust the camera. Okay, as you can see, I've already sketched a box around the car. Now, with a car, you're still going to have vanishing points. If you look at some of these, the line where that connects the bottom of the tires, the angle that goes off, then look at up here and the top of the car, you can see that there's these lines. If I extended these, would converge out to a vanishing point. That will keep it looking realistic. Same with the front of the car. Okay, so when I sketch a car, I always start with the wheels. That's just me, because that's a straight line that I can see. Cars have so many curves and everything, it's hard to kind of see the boxy shape of it. So I've visualized a clock. Here's my reference line right here. I've kind of established the point where the front transitions to the side of the car. So that's where the reference line for that box would be. I'm kind of establishing that. So I visualize the clock running through that point. Here's 9 o'clock, 3 o'clock. So this angle that the tires make is about 9:30. So I'm going to sketch this darker than usual just so you can see it, and I'm going to make it larger than usual. So let's sketch this box. Make sure you can see this, okay. And the 3 o'clock, this is about 2:30. It's just a slight angle going up like this. And then the tires on the side, looks like it goes back at about like this. Okay. And then I'm going to establish how large I'll make this drawing. So here would be about the back of the car in this area right here. And I'm gauging the width of the car as it appears in this box to the length. So it looks like the width is about like there. You know, and when I'm sketching, I don't sketch the box, but it helps for you to do that if you do a large one first. Okay, then the height, I'm looking at this distance. This is all about the seeing part. I'm looking at the width across here in relation to the height of it. It looks like it's about the same. So maybe about here, and see, there's a vanishing point out here someplace. Same with this. This is going to a vanishing point. Okay, what I start with is the wheels. Now these wheels are ellipses. A circle looking straight on is going to look like that. And that ellipse will never change in height. And the more I move off to the side, it's going to start looking like that. And I keep moving and it gets narrower and narrower until it looks like this. And if I'm almost right straight on from the end of the tire, it's going to look more like that. Okay. So, and I'm going to look at the height of that tire. It's not quite half as tall as the car is. So right about in here is the height of the tire. And that's going to go back to the vanishing point. So that rear tire is going to look smaller than this tire. That's really important in this. So let's sketch in that ellipse. When you do it this size, use your whole arm. Don't try to draw an ellipse like this, where you try to draw the perfect line. You know, get your arm involved. So it's away from that reference point, right about there. And then the back wheel is smaller. Okay. Now you can see if you look at this, when you look at some of the pictures that you download to sketch or whatever, the tire has thickness, and that tread is going to go off to that same vanishing point. So right in here is going to be the thickness of the tire, the same curvature as the ellipse. Okay. Next thing, let's just start at the bottom of the car. if you gauge the distances, the bottom of the car is slightly below the middle of the wheel. You can see it right here. So right about in here is where the bottom of the car is. Let's do the back and the top. So the back kind of comes up, and when you're sketching cars for urban sketching, it doesn't, like we talked about, it doesn't have to look exactly like the car you're doing. It just has to be a believable car, right? Comes across up here. And this is a key point right here where the windshield meets the hood. And it looks like it's right about almost in the middle of this. I might have this a little bit too long, but that's all right. So right about in here is where the hood is going to meet the windshield. And you can see where it's right about up in here. So here's my windshield. And I'm just boxing this in for right now. I'm drawing a flat plane for the front of the car. See that? Just a box, and then I'll fill in all the other details. I might have this off just a little bit, but that's all right. As long as it looks like a believable car. Next, get the windows. And see, that goes to the vanishing point too. See this line across here? That is going to go to the vanishing point. So I'm going to okay, fairly believable. Okay. And then I've got the trimmer on the wheels here. The hood, here's the wraparound headlight. And then you can see the other wheel comes in right about here. That same ellipse is in here. Okay, that's enough right there. You got some detail. Maybe you got a rear side mirror. That's basically it. Now to do this small, your sketch isn't going to be this big. Let's say you're doing this with a like my sketch that I just showed you right here. If you got a car in front of a building, I'm going to throw in part of the building here, and I'm not going to cover this up for the car yet. Here's the sidewalk, the curb. So I'm going to draw this box and visualize this box. The fewer lines you can draw, the better. Now, if I'm watercoloring this, I would stop right there. That's enough detail. Then, of course, then maybe you finish off the building. Got a canopy. And the windows down here, the building next to it. And there's a planter. I notice you guys are drawing too many lines. Look how I did this little bush. This is a thumbnail sketch, okay? I didn't draw all the lines in there, just the general feeling of that bush. The window, I just put in kind of the suggestion of a rectangle. I'm gonna let the watercolor do the work. And then I can come back in later and put in more detail, especially on that car. But that's enough right there for the car. It still looks a believable vehicle. And it's good enough for this sketch. And that's kind of what I did right here. Now, the watercolor part, that's another issue, but I don't want to take too long on this video. But you can see I have very few lines drawn, just enough to give me the shape of a car. I can, I'm not going to try to draw the hubcap in. I'll use the watercolor brush to get in this silver. Oops. To get this silver and maybe some of the different highlights. Okay, that's about it. So visualize it in a box, and keep in mind that the lines of that car also go to vanishing points. And if you visualize or at least sketch in that box, download a photograph from an angle, sketch in the box, and kind of help you visualize those vanishing points. Remember, 70%, 75% looking, 25% drawing. So you really have to look at this thing and look at those angles to get it to look believable. Okay, that's it. Thank you for watching. We'll see you Wednesday.